आद्यन्तयोर्मध्ये में शाश्वत जाकोसे अमृतयन्तरयामि हो नमो नमो मामधे. My pranam to Swami Ji, to his holy feet, and my dear Khushbu Ji and everyone connected to this online satsang, online discussion. I was slightly laughing on myself when Khushbu Ji mentioned a few things about me, and then one of the statements she made that if she starts talking about me, it will take the whole session. I don't want to comment anything on that, but I think, thank you, Khushbuji, for giving me a hint that if you can take 1 hour to talk about me, all of you right now can understand how difficult it is for me to talk about Swamiji just in few minutes. It's not possible at all for anyone. 1 hour, 1 day, 1 month, 1 year to understand everything about Swamiji is not possible at all for anyone. Because the basis at which he is, all of our basis is very different. We are far, far, far behind, far to the downside. He's so much at a height that we cannot understand on the basis from which we exist about him completely. And that's why whatever I'm going to talk about, whatever I'm trying to explain about the lifetime, the life related things of Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj would be very, very limited, very limited. And hence, I would really request all of you to have some readings from wherever it is possible to find it out. Although many things are available in Hindi, those who understand Hindi, at least in from reading point of view, you are at a beneficial point to know a lot many things about Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, which has been written in Hindi. At least there have been few books written by Swamiji, written by some other disciples, by collecting most of the things about him. In English, it has been very, very limited so far. Hopefully, very soon we would have few books about Swamiji and his life. But I think so far, in fact, first question probably somebody can ask, oh, why it is not available in English? So, to be very honest here, explaining some of the spiritual aspect, explaining some of the spiritual events which has been happening, not just I'm talking about Swamiji, I'm talking in general, the spirituality itself. I think it has mostly been the language of his spirituality has mostly, if at all we are saying language of his spirituality, although the spirituality doesn't have any language, it is actually at the language of the soul itself, whether we are able to give a form of that sound, whether we are able to give a form of that text in the text form or not, that is immaterial. But if at all we are able to express the knowledge of his spirituality at the level of experience what it has, then its most appropriate one what has been seen is the Sanskrit. So those who have been familiar with Sanskrit, or to a certain extent if you go down to understand the language, little bit similar, not very similar, but little bit similar, it would be maybe Marathi, Hindi, or some of the South Indian languages as well, but still it would be difficult. English has limitation. I'm not a expert on English as such for by any reason or anything, but I can understand this very well, that English has limitation to express each and every word of his spirituality in the text form, and that's why, because of that limitation, it is really hard to find a book on spirituality at the level of spirit itself, to be it in English, or maybe some more languages as well. And that's why our country, the India, has been so great, because it's the country, it's the land of spirituality. And we should all be proud to be the product of this land. It is imbibed inside us. And that's why I have a belief that in my this very simple English language, hopefully I will be able to express my understanding of spirituality and the language and the words used by Swamiji and his philosophy, his concept, his achievement, his lifetime, and everything in English. I may use some of the Hindi terminologies, Hindi textbook related few words, for which I'm really sorry if I may not have the complete English word for those. But I think it should be fine with most of us. So right now, the idea here, what we are going to talk about is Swamiji, Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj. And as Khushbuji mentioned, that we have been able to know, even if you go on Google and type anyone's name, anyone's means any saint's name, most of the things you will be able to find out. And again, thanks to those people who have been taking efforts to provide all those information to us, to all the normal general people like us, to understand what exactly the history had been of all these things. But yes, about Swamiji, Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj is still on Google or anywhere else. You will not find many things other than just few things mentioned on our website, www.vihungamyoga.org, where a little bit of glimpse have been given about Swamiji as well as successor Swamijis and even the current Swamiji Sadhguru Swatanta Devji Maharaj. But nevertheless, we have many things in terms of texts in Hindi, in the form of book, in form of very thick and big books written on the lifetimes and his philosophy of Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj. So there has been so many events that it would really be very difficult and hard to pick up each and everything, but I will try to speak on those things which probably would give you a glimpse, and maybe some of your doubts already would be covered in all those discussions which I'm going to mention about, hopefully. So let me start from a point which actually connects to a life. Whenever, suppose I exist, you exist, everyone exists, right? We have a family. The life is possible in this world. The life is possible in 6 different ways. One of the example is us, the mammals, for which a mother and father need to exist. There can be another type of life where, say, it could be what we call, say, the egg, which comes through the egg, right? It has a different type of a structure to appear in this world. Similarly, there could be some insects or some other things which can appear, which can take birth on the basis of the heat itself. There could be some. And similarly, there has been, in fact, the plants and trees also are considered as lives, which comes out from the soil. They are also considered as one of the lives. Similarly, there has been some specific incidences, specific ways to appear in this world, and one of them is coming to this world, forming your body on your own without any having mother or father, no one knows, and you just create your own body with the help of the 5 elements of this whole Prakriti, this whole nature, and you just exist on that basis. But this may look like as a sci-fi movie kind of thing, but it does exist. Science still has not yet been able to reach out to that level. That's why probably no one talks about it, and people think it as a mythological discussion and so on and so forth. But it does exist. Sometimes we may discuss about these things also, depending on our time and situation. But what I mean to say here is, the lineage of Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj actually starts long back. Long back means, like, I have a lineage. I have a family, right? Family tree I have. I know. My family tree is since last 10 generations previously. I know that. But probably you might be knowing few more family trees. I think I have seen one of the family tree mentioned somewhere about Mahabharat time, how Yudhishthira from there onward, each and every one came through, and I don't know if still somebody exists or not, but there has been a significant number of trees, branches of that. On the similar basis, Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, when we are talking about him and his life, let me first reveal here to everyone. Of course, Khushbu might be knowing about this, but Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, if the oldest one known to us, at least in the form of text or anything, is at the time when even Lord Ramo did not exist. Lord Ram, that means Ramayan time. King Dashrath at the time, when he did not have any son, there was a very great sage named Shringi. He was the only one at that time point who knew how to do something, the yajna or any specific methodology to boon somebody so that someone can has a kid. Putreshti yajna. It was called Putreshti yajna. So it was Shringi Rishi who actually did Havan yajna for King Dashrath, based on which he got 4 sons. One of them was Lord Ram, about whom we have been knowing since our childhood. Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj is having the lineage from there. So his family tree, if you keep on doing in the backward direction, then you will find Shringi Rishi as one of the branch or one of the roots somewhere of Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj lineage. And that's why we call it, he appeared in the Shengar Vansh. So Shringi, from Shringi, it became Shrengar, Shengar. So Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj is of that Rishi Kul, Rishi lineage, who was at one time was the only person who knew how to boon someone, how to give boon someone, so that that person can have the desired son or something like that. So from this itself, you should understand the person, the life about which we are talking about is not an ordinary person. Cannot be, isn't it? Cannot be. The one because of whose Havan Lord Ram appeared. We are talking about that Rishikul. It's not a small thing. If you try to understand even on a logical basis, it's not a small thing. So Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, when he came to this earth in the form of mortal body in 1888, year 1888, now almost going to, I think it's already 133 years, right? When he appeared, when he came, of course, he had his father, his mother. So one of the form of taking birth is, of course, as mammal, we all are. He also came on a similar basis. But at a very initial stage itself, he was having a very different kind of feeling. Since the time he was able to even crawl or walk, he was having a very different kind of experiences, although he was not able to express things because of the bondage of this natural, we call it prakritik bandhan kind of thing. Unless and until your sense would develop, your sense organs would get in touch with your mind appropriately, you'll not be able to express, talk, and all those kind of things. But since he started talking, he was talking about the spiritual things only about the spiritual things. And there has been many different incidences where he felt that there is some power which is guiding him. How the person is guiding, how that power is guiding, how that source is guiding, he was completely clueless, again because he was in the mortal form of a human body, right? But eventually, when he grown up, when he was able to understand, 5 years, 6-year-old, then he was having a much more developed sense in terms of sense organs and mind and all of those kind of things. He was having all different kind of feelings and understanding in a prematured basis. And he started realizing that the life what he has got is not just that simple like anyone else. And at an age of 5 itself, he started telling his friends, even to the elders, that I am the master of the master. Come, sit down. I will teach you what is spirituality actually. At an age of 5, although his birth was in the lineage of the Rishikul, where Not just he, in fact, his father, his father's father, and even down the line, if you go for few more trees where there has been some great saints appeared just before him, there would have been some impact. People can say genetically or biologically or whichever way. And that's why you can say that, okay, at an age of 5, a son of an engineer may think about more engineering thing. A person who is working on computer science more, a son of computer engineer, son at an age of 5 may think much more better and easy way how the computer works and all those kind of things. So that may be one of the reasons, even biologically we think out. But later on, it would be clarified in a much more better way that it was not just that. Of course, it was, because the impact of the family and the genetic things is really one of the things. Because if you see not just science, but if you try to understand his spirituality, who is coming to which family, there has been a very specific reason behind this. Maybe in one day or another, I think sometime earlier, there would have been some discussion on karma, where there was a specific term called prarabdha, right? Or destiny. If you tell this word prarabdha in English, it will be called as destiny, but people take word destiny very differently. But let me call it prarabdha. So based on the past accumulated, the karma which you have not yet got the fruit of which would accumulate at one time, and based on which you will have one of the reason to have a birth in one specific family. So if Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj appeared, taken birth in this specific family, it's not just a genetic thing. There has been a plan behind that. You will come to know why I'm using the word plan. There has been a plan behind this, why Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj has to appear to his parents, Skambha Muni and Maharani Mukti Devi. They were the parents of Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, and he appeared in 1888, just like as you and we come into the world. But in Swarved, which Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj has composed, completed it, I think, in 1938 at Shunyashikhar Ashram, where he had explained all of his spiritual experiences in the form of couplets. We call it Doha. There are roughly around 3,137 couplets he just noted down in the form of text in a book form, which we call it as Swarved. These are the couplets which were the real experience of Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj at a level of samadhi, at a level of not just at a level of soul, but at a level when the soul is amalgamated with the Supreme Soul. At that level, and that continuity continues, means the amalgamation of the soul with the Supreme Soul, that continuity continues, then that level is called Samadhi state. Being in that state, Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj has written all these single words of that Swarved, which are not just words, but these are much more than the mantras for those who recite it, even just without willingness. Even if you read it out without willingness, or even if you hear those words without willingness and it goes inside your body, it will create some kind of vibration and it impacts your body and mind and soul itself. I'm talking about that Swarved, the encyclopedia. The real encyclopedia is that book, Encyclopedia of Spirituality, where Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj has mentioned how he actually appeared. So he had mentioned in Swarved that he appeared, he came to this world just out of curiosity. Just out of curiosity. And he said that I came through a specific door. He came through specific door, the door of Mukti. The door of Mukti, actually, he came to this world. And the real objective is to pass through again from that door itself, which later on he explained in Swarved that in our body there are 9 doors: 2 nose, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 tongue, and 2 genital excretion organs. Other than these 9 doors, there is one more door, which is called 10th door. We call it as, already, Kundalini Dwar, right? But other than that, he said, that there is an 11th door, which is the real ultimate door, which is the Mukti Dwar. Unless and until we cross through that Dwar, we will not have the Mukti, we will not have the salvation, we will not have the liberation. And he said that I came through from that door. It is so interesting to understand that even during a very small age, he was having that feeling that from where he had come. When we take a birth, just as a normal person, or any saint, even I'm telling right now, even any saint, just look at the birth, how they did come in this world. They would not have remembered many things. They might have remembered some of their past lives probably after some time, but the path through which, not just at the time when they are in the womb, but before that, and before that, and before that, where he was, knowing everything in reality is not that an easy task. It's a very difficult thing. So from this also, we can understand how great soul Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj is. And then he mentioned that I came through that Mukti Dwar, and the real objective is to pass through that. I just came to this world just out of curiosity. But later on, he understood that this curiosity was not just his curiosity, it was an order of that Almighty and Nitya Anadi Sadguru, because of which he had to come to this life to help many more others. That's the real objective. And I will come to one specific point very soon, why and how this Vihungam Yoga was established in 1924. There has been a specific reason behind this. But once Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj at an age of 5 started telling many people, kids around, all his family members, even elders, that pray to me, touch my feet, I'm the master of all masters, and all those kind of things, people are laughing at him. But no one knew at that time point who he is actually. So there also you can understand, his parents or even his grandfather, right? They were not able to realize, they were not able to recognize him appropriately, who this boy is. So even if his father, his mother, or even his father's father, or even previous to some people, whoever it could be, who were very, very great saints. I just want to tell you one specific story about, I think, 3 generations before Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj. I don't remember the name of that saint, of course, but I think Baba Jangli Baba or something like that, his name was. He was a person, he was that great saint who just by touching through his feet to his disciple, that person's Sushmana would simply go beyond the 10th door. So those who would have understood previously or heard about Sushmana or 10th door, probably you'd be able to understand in a much more better way. So he, just by touching, you might have heard about this particular thing in one of the incidents where Ramkrishna Paramhans Ji just touched Vivekanand Ji through his feet, right? I'm sure this is a very well-known fact, and an event happened, how Vivekanand Ji became his real disciple. Ramkrishna Paramhans Ji just touched his feet, I think the toe, to somewhere his body, Vivekanand Ji bodies, and immediately Vivekanand had something happening inside him. And probably it was the point, it was the time when his Vivek started getting awakening, right? And that's how his name, Narendra started being converted towards Vivekananda since that time point. Similarly, this particular saint from the lineage of Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, 3 generations before, he was a person who once touched to someone through his feet, and he went in a long, deep samadhi. That disciple, I'm not just talking about awakening of the Vivek or something like that. I'm talking that he went in the samadhi state. And if you remember, I just clearly defined the meaning of samadhi, where the soul gets amalgamated with the supreme soul and it continues to stay in that state. So that disciple went in that state, and once someone goes in that state, all of your physical appearance, whatever you are at, it will stop. That means your breathing may stop, your all the veins and everything, whatever is happening inside the body, that to a person outside may appear that everything is stopped. Means somebody may consider that this person has died. But that person was sitting in Siddhasan, and he was still. But of course, there was no any breathing in and out or anything. I mean, the pulse was also gone, it seems. So other disciple carelessly, they thought that this person had died, and they, by mistake, they give a samadhi to him. Given a samadhi to him means he used the bricks and other things, and just put him on the wall. When the Jangli Baba came back, then he asked, no, I don't think it's Jangli Baba, somebody else, Aviram Baba or somebody else. Sorry, not Jangli Baba. But when he came back, wherever he had gone, asking about this particular person, where is he? Then somebody told him what has happened. Then he said that all of you had done such a great mistake. He did not die. It was just my touch, because of which he went on the Sushmana Pravah, and then he went on the Samadhi, and you people considered him died by mistake. That was a really great mistake by you. So why I'm giving this example? Because even before Swamiji's life, there had been great people in his family who had been really very great and doing lots of different kind of things. It's just that at that time point, hardly anybody knew such kind of people, because the situation in India was very different. All these type of people used to be as down to earth as possible. No need to see what is happening in the world, these, that, and all those kind of things. That's why many people don't know. Many people don't know about those kind of people. Even right now, if you go to Himalaya, at those specific places, there has been lots of incidences, even with current Swamiji, where he had been going to our ashram at Sunashikhar ashram, but he did not go to ashram. He deviated from the real path and went somewhere else above to the ashram, few more 100 meters above, where he found some different kind of huge people, Adi Manav kind of thing, who were actually the tapasvis and all those rishis and munis. People like us, normal people, even the trekkers who are going to Himalayas, having trekking and all those kind of, they don't know about such kind of reality. They are just living on their own for something else. They don't have to do anything about the world. So such kind of people don't come easily in front of the normal people, because their objective is very different. But when we are talking about Sadhguru Siddhartha Devji Maharaj, where he realized, so what I'm saying is, there had been many great people in the family of Swamiji, but even his father, his mother, or probably his grandfather would not have understood appropriately what is the objective of this particular life, this particular boy who had come, and they might not have thought also what he's going to do. So as and when his ages goes on, he realized that no, the objective of real life is not the one which I am seeing right now in this world. It's something different. And at a very early age, at an 11 of age, he just went out from the house and started searching what is the reality. He went to understand, know things, asking people here and there. He left his studies, trying to understand what happens, why do I exist, why do people exist, and all those kind of things. Wherever he had gone, everywhere people engrossed at that time point, everything related with these three guna dharma. Three guna means Sat, Raj, Tam. That means at a level of Prakriti, at a level of this natural phenomena. On that basis, whatever different methodologies and all those kind of things they knew, yoga, Patanjali yoga, and dhyan, dharana, samadhi, whichever way they knew, they were just telling him. But he never got satisfied. Sadhguru Siddhartha Devji Maharaj never got satisfied. Just for few days, probably he would have got impressed. But once he started following whatever they are doing, he said, okay, now I have done. What next? And then those people, those saints say, okay, I know only this. I don't know after this what to do. You got that? Yes, I got that. What next? No, I don't know. You have to find somewhere else. Okay. So that's how Swamiji has kept on searching all the times here and there. And he had moved a lot of places near around his house, near around his place. His birthplace is Balia in Uttar Pradesh, where we have an ashram in the village of Pakri. near around that place, around maybe 50-kilometer radius, he had roamed around throughout the time to understand what is the life all about. But every time he has been a hint all the times that no, whatever you see is not the correct thing. And then what he did, he left everything as it is, and he thought that no, I probably have to learn things on my own. Whoever has to guide me, that person should come and then guide me. And that's it. I have done my enough of search. Now, no search outside. Whatever search I have to do is to be done inside and only inside. And since then, he decided to sit at a secluded place near to his hometown itself, but excluded place, and then started meditating there on his own, whichever way he knew. Suddenly, after some time, he heard a voice, and the voice was, whatever you are doing is of nothing. Whatever you are doing is of nothing. The correct path is something else. These were the two sentences what he heard. Of course, it was in kind of Hindi, कि यह जो कर रहे हो इससे कुछ नहीं होगा, रास्ता तो नहीं, मार्ग तो कोई और है. He clearly heard such kind of words in a cave wherever he was meditating, where no one is there. He was always perplexed. Who is this guy? Who is this person? Which this power it is? What is this which I'm not able to understand, from where this voice comes, and all those kind of things. And later on, of course, the whole spiritual mystic philosophy or mystic gyan, the knowledge was revealed to him once the Nitya Anadi Sadguru appeared in front of him. And not just that, there had been many incidents that happened with him where he came to know about another power. It is not about a person. It's a power, you can say. And Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj named that power as Nitya Anadi Sadguru. Nitya means eternal. Anadi means the same thing, eternal, whose there is no end, there is no beginning. And Sadguru means the master of all the masters. He named that particular entity as Nitya Anadi Sadguru. And he said that he or this entity is the master of all masters throughout all the time, since ever, whatever this whole universe exists, not just now, even any ever time. And he always mentioned, in fact, anywhere in the Vedas, anywhere in the Upanishad, Puran, or wherever the Guru Shabd, the Guru word has been mentioned, it is mentioned about that Guru. In fact, even Atharvaveda also it mentions Anti Santam na Jahatyanti Santam na Pashyati Devasya Pashya Kavyam na Mamar na Jiryati, which Swami Ji has written in Hindi very easily. Hai sameep dikhe nahi, wah dekhe sab koi, jara mrityu nahi tahi mein, kah pandit vah koi. There is one master, one Guru, who doesn't take a birth, who doesn't die. He is there as eternal. All those learned people, please let me know, who is that person? And the same thing has been mentioned, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. If you see here logically also, the Guru term which has been mentioned, it comes from Vedas itself. It is talking about a Guru who is same as Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, even if you consider they exist or whichever way. Not just that, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma means that Guru is same as that Parabrahma. Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. It is not just for the sake of as a respect to a Guru, this mantra has been created. No. Please, that's why at the beginning when I mentioned that understanding few things at a level where we are and at a level at which it was created, there could be a huge difference. And we may not understand the complete meaning of what exactly it is. The same mantra, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, and all these can be used for a teacher of our school or college or somewhere else also, right? But ultimately, it is fine, absolutely fine to use that mantra out of respect to any Guru, any type. But the origin of this mantra was not just like this. see logically. It is not just to pay the respect. It is the reality we are talking about. That Guru, that Master, who is the Master of all Master and who is as equal as the Almighty, Parabrahma. What that Guru is. Where is it? That's what Sadhguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj है समीप दिखे नहीं वह देखे सब कोय जरा मृत्यु नहीं ताहि में कह पंडित वह कोय means all those learned people, सभी पंडित जन यह बताएं कि वह कौन सा गुरु है जो सबको देख रहा है जिसे हम और आप नहीं देख सकते. That entity was the master, is the master, I would say, of Sadhguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj, which means Sadhguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj did not have any living master. When I say living master, so Sadhguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj was or is a living master of all of us, because he was in the form of a body. But Sadhguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj did not have any living master. The master under which he gained everything, he was beyond all these things. And Swamiji has explained about him very clearly a lot, many places, even in Swarved. And Swamiji has written exactly 35 books he had composed, out of which the greatest creation is Swarved, but he has written altogether 35 books. In fact, he had provided his comments on all the 4 Vedas also. And we came to know from his explanation on Veda itself is that whatever number of shlokas has been mentioned in Vedas, all those are not spiritual. Swamiji has mentioned that all the mantras in Vedas are not spiritual. Then what they are? So Vedas, the creation of Vedas, let me put few things here. Of course, I know I'm a little bit digressing from the real topic, but all these things, without discussion of all these things, the life of Swamiji cannot be completed, because we have to understand all these things. So, Rishayo Mantra Drashtara. This is what we have been hearing from Upanishad actually, that Rishis are those who Mantra Drashtara, those who see those mantras. So actually, if you read through Vedas or any of these 4 Vedas, earlier they were all in one, but Veda Vyas was the one who divided this in 4 as per their characteristics. But if you see any of the Veda, if you pick it up, then you will see that before each and every mantra, it has been mentioned which Rishi has Uvacha, which Rishi has mentioned this. So Vedas are not just out of one particular Rishi. It is a collection. It's a collection of many more Rishis and saints at all different time points. And it was composed in just 1/5 collected. That's how the Vedas are. But if you read it out, so what these mantras are, what Upanishad says that Rishyo Mantra Drashtara, all those Rishis who have has mentioned all these specific mantras, they actually saw those words, or in fact letters, or even sounds, right, in a very specific form, not sound or words or the letters seen through these eyes. We are not talking about these eyes. We are not talking about these sense organs. They are at a state of samadhi, and being in that state, few things appeared in front of them, and they experienced all those letters in the form of a specific sound, and then they gave a shape to them so that if somebody knows about it, they can pronounce it and create similar kind of sound through this Bakhari Vani, the voice through which we speak. So all those mantras, Swamiji said that these all mantras are not all spiritual. What does it mean? That means that all these mantras have not been of use as per spirituality is concerned. There are many mantras mentioned here which are used for our day-to-day life or for other things. Like in Atharvaveda, there have been many mantras which are actually for medicine related things. There have been many mantras mentioned in Rigveda which are just normal our day-to-day gyan or knowledge related things to know things outside. Swamiji said that there are very few mantras which are actually spiritual. And Swamiji has provided his comment for all those spiritual mantras of all those Vedas. And we call it Chaturvediya Bhashya. So Chaturvediya means 4 Vedas and the commentary on that. But of course, it is in Hindi. Unfortunately, for those who don't understand Hindi, they probably would not be able to understand. But Swamiji has provided his comment on all those Vedas, and very authoritatively he mentioned that all the mantras of Vedas are not spiritual. Who will tell this? Think about it. Who can tell such kind of statement? Through authority, there has been some reason behind that. So some people tell many a times, oh, okay, and a few days back when I was talking to a lady where we were trying to do some marketing thing for Vihangam Yoga so that more people may know about it, and to have some interviews, some kind here and there. And then that lady did not have to know anything about Vihangam Yoga. When I started explaining about Vihangam Yoga, and first time when I used the word Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, before I could complete my word or sentences, she said, oh, he's also a Sadguru. I did not know how to react on that, but I could very easily understand that there has been many such words she would have heard previously. The Sadguru something, Sadguru something, Sadguru something, and so on and so forth. Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj said that this word Sadguru is so pure, is so pious, that this cannot be attached to anyone just like that. And it's not like a selection of president, selection of prime minister, selection of some leader or somewhere here and there of a community or something like that. It's not been done through election kind of thing. It's such a pious position. Even if we call it a position, that Nitya Anadi Sadguru. Nitya Anadi Sadguru only can appoint the Sadguru. Like a chairman only, or probably the owner of a company can only appoint board of directors. Board of directors only can appoint CEO. CEO only can appoint this and that and all those kind of things. Similarly, the highest most only can appoint the similar person or similarity of something. People who are below, they cannot, they don't know anything. How could they just say? Cannot. It's just foolishness. So Swamiji said that the word Sadguru, I have not attached it on my own, or my disciples have not attached it to me. It's not like that. That word Sadguru is so pious and so powerful that it has to be given by that Sadguru who exists eternally. And in fact, that is the real case where Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj was given this Sadguru Pad by Nitya Anadi Sadguru himself. And first hint he gave to him somewhere when he was meditating, doing Anushthan in his cave, 6-month Anushthan, and at a place. And he had told everyone, all of his then disciples, mentioning that please don't disturb me at all. Not for food, not for this, that, anything. Don't disturb me for 6 months. I'm just in this cave. Okay. I'm meditating something, doing something specific. Okay, everyone knew, the people of villages and everyone, they knew about him. After a few days, people noticed that he was preaching to the villagers under the shade of a tree. And those people who were not being preached from outside, they started laughing. Oh, look at this dhongi. He mentioned that I'm doing Anushthan, don't disturb me for next 6 months. And here he is preaching in front of so many people. What kind of yogi he says himself. But the disciples had a hiccup. Oh, what is happening here? Swamiji had mentioned that he is in that cave, and we have been giving him everyday food just outside the door, and many days he just let it be without having any food or anything. We know that he is inside, but he has never come out. But how could? Here he is. They never understood. But before going to check with that person who was preaching under the tree, all of them went to that cave and checking whether Swamiji right now here or not. So as soon as they were about to enter the cave, Swamiji made some sound from inside, something like this. That means, don't disturb me, I'm here. don't come inside, something like this. But he didn't want to say any words, because during that time period, when you are in Anushthan, you don't have to speak anything also. But someone was coming to disturb him, so he had to do something like this, right? So they knew that, okay, Swamiji is here. And they know that Swamiji is there also under the tree, preaching people. What is this? What is happening? What is happening? Just see. Just try to understand, even logical. Same person is at two different places. I'm not saying here, or no one is saying here, that Swamiji himself was in two different places, the same person. No, it was not. Swamiji was in the cave. He did not go outside, did not have any other form, did not do any chamatkar or something, so that I'm here also and I'm there also. No, he did not. He was as it is. Who was he? The question comes. Later on, when he was told, once he came out from his Anushthan, when he was told about this event, he realized, he understood, he got the experience who that person was. He was the Nityanadi Sadguru. But what is the meaning of appearing in his form? What was the meaning? The meaning is giving a hint, that there is giving the hint to the people that there is someone who is coming in all between all of you, as a master of all masters, which I am appointing to you, all of you, in front of you. He is the one. That's how this started. He never said anything that I am the Sadguru, or no one else mentioned that you are the Sadguru. It was as a flow by the Nityanadi Sadguru to make him the Sadguru. And there has been many different incidences of making him Sadguru. How Nityanadi Sadguru appeared in front of him at one specific place, what he mentioned, and all those kind of things. There has been many incidences. Every single year of his life has connected with so many different incidences. But few more things, just on the basis of, on the interest of time, is already, I think, quite a long time, but still, just few more things I'd like to mention here, which I told that in 1924, why Vihungam Yoga was established. What if he would have not established Vihungam Yoga? Why it was required to establish Vihungam Yoga almost 100 years back? There was a specific reason. As I mentioned, most of you probably would have been heard, read out, and knew from another stories and somewhere that there has been so many saints available. There has been so many saints available in this world at all different times. And they would have reached to the highest ultimate level, at the state of samadhi, and some of them probably would have been kept their body for so many years, right? Those who have been knew about Bihar in India and so many different places, there has been one samadhist Babaji who kept his body for 2 years, 200 years, 300 years, 400 years. They were a Baba. At least I have not met him, never, but many people have been claiming that. Possibly it's right? And there has been many other saints and gurus would have been available at one different time, who just like touching the feet to his disciple, and that disciple itself will go to the ultimate position of a life in the samadhi state, right? There would have been many different stories here and there, and all of them, let's consider all of them were right, correct, as it is. But what is the speciality of Sadhguru Siddhafal Devji Maharaj? The speciality of Sadhguru Siddhafal Devji Maharaj is, or was, or whatever you say, he got the indication from Nityanadi Sadguru on the basis of the order from the Almighty itself. We probably would be able to just visualize that someone is there who is ordering, someone is there who is doing this and that. It's not like that. There's no one in terms of person, okay? Just as a very different kind of entities. We cannot visualize those in terms of our sense organs and whatever we have the experience at the moment. But on the basis of a specific order, on the basis of a specific desire from the Almighty, Nityanadi Sadguru's instruction came to him. What you have to do in your life. And that objective is that what I used to do, I means as an entity, Nityanadi Sadguru, what I used to do, I am giving this authority to you to perform for some time. What I used to do, you have to perform that task. I have a specific task. What is that task? Just let me quickly get a glimpse on that. All of the lives, souls are taking birth, dying, this cycle, vicious cycle. We are all in the part of this whole life and death cycle. And on the basis of the karma, whatever we are performing, the prarabdha, the kriyaman karma and sanchit karma and all those, we are just in this vicious cycle. There is none. If you really go deep in the understanding of his spirituality, at least even at the level of his intellect, or on the basis of whatever you read, if you really read it deeply, then you will realize at a level of intellect itself that no one actually can liberate us. There is no deity, there is no guru, there is no one who has achieved everything can actually liberate us just like this. For this, there has to have so many things to happen at the same time. You need to take a birth at one specific time. The person who can liberate you, he or she or who, whatever we say, need to be present at that point. All the timing around you has to be synchronized exactly the way it has to be, and then that event has to happen. It's not that easy, right? So when we all are caught in this vicious cycle, there is only one who has the authority to liberate us, to take us out from this vicious cycle. The Brahma has the capability. Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj has mentioned about 4 eternal conscious entities. He mentions 6 eternal entities, out of which 4 are conscious. One is the Parabrahma, one is the Brahma, and the third one is the infinite souls, and the fourth one is the Nitya Anadi Sadguru. The Brahma is the one who creates this whole universe and does everything. It's only one. It's not 3 or 4 or 5. It's one, which takes care of everything. And this whole Srishti is going on its own basis. But the Brahma does not have the authority to liberate anyone. He is capable of, probably, he could be capable of, but he would not, because he does not have the authority. It's not about the competition. It's not about the position. It's not about who is big, who is not. No, it's just about his own task, its own task, and that's it. Because it's so complex that, no, you do just this task, and that's how Brahma is. But the Sadguru, the Nitya Anadi Sadguru, has a specific task to pick some eligible ones to take out from this vicious cycle. That's the task of Nitya Anadi Sadguru, and the only task. Pick up the eligible ones, pick up all those from this vicious cycle and establish them to the Parabrahma. And that's the yoga, that's the samadhi. And that happens only under the authority of that Nitya Anadi Sadguru. No one else. Unless and until that Nitya Anadi Sadguru authorizes someone, it's not possible. So how does Nitya Anadi Sadguru perform? Wherever, whichever way the Nitya Anadi Sadguru is, that entity performs his task, whichever, what his, her, whatever you say, that entity performs the task on its own, the way it has been created, on its own. Sometimes that Nitya Anadi Sadguru appears on his own will. On his own will. And there has been one such example in last 600 years before, where Nitya Anadi Sadguru had come on his own form. And Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj mentioned that kind of, when the Nitya Anadi Sadguru comes in the form of a body, but that body will not be coming through just like as mammals we do. It would appear on its own, as I explained in the beginning time. So there is an example of a recent time, I'm saying all those 600 years before, in the form of Sadguru Kabir, where he appeared on his own, did whatever he had to do, and went on his own. That was no one but the Nitya Anadi Sadguru. Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj mentioned the name for such kind of Guru Sadguru, Swam Siddha Sadguru. There is no difference between Nitya Anadi Sadguru and Swam Siddha Sadguru, the same thing. But it's just in the physical form, that's why it has to have something different. So sometimes Nitya Anadi Sadguru appears in the form of Swam Siddha Sadguru, as the name itself says, Swam Siddha Sadguru, and does the same task, whichever way he has to perform. And sometimes, on the basis of past efforts done by some specific special souls, sometimes that eternal master gives the authority to those special souls to perform his task for a certain time period. And that type of Sadgurus are called Abhyas Siddha Sadguru, the one which imbibes and takes everything or gets that authority from Sadguru on the basis of his own practice. Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj is one such special soul who has got that power, imbibed everything, taken everything. जैसे बोलते हैं कि अपने अंदर उन्होंने उन सारी धार को उन्होंने अपने अंदर उतारा. किसकी धार? नित्य अनादि सद्गुरु की धार. That type of Sadguru is called Abhyas Siddha Sadguru. Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj is Abhyas Siddha Sadguru. So, at the time when that dhar, that current, that power is flowing to this Abhyas Siddha Sadguru, there is no difference between the Nitya Anadi Guru and the Abhyas Siddha Sadguru. Why? Because from outside you see that this is looking like this. But ultimately from inside, everything is being governed and monitored by that dhar, by that Nitya Anadi Sadguru. And that's what the speciality of Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, which happens rarest of rare at all different time points. So Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, on the basis of that instruction through that dhar, where he had the connectivity through Nitya Anadi Sadguru with that Almighty, came to understand, came to know, realize that I have a specific task for a specific time period. What? To liberate the souls. How many? And what is the time? Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, on the basis of all the calculations from Nitya Anadi Sadguru, decided to take an oath in 1924. At that time point, he was just 36, 37 years old. Just. And by that time, he had achieved everything. Much before that, he took an oath, did a Havan, Yagya, with 100,000 mantras, and took the oath that I will liberate at least 100,000 lives during my time. That's I'm taking the authority at this time point. And that is the only single reason to establish Vihangam Yoga, just as a name. Vihangam is not a new name. Vihangam is not a new name. It was used long back by Sadguru Kabir also. And even before that, it was used. This word was just vanished somewhere here and there. But Vihangam Yoga, it has a specific meaning. It has a specific reason why this word was chosen and so on and so forth. But the real objective of Vihangam Yoga is establishing Vihangam Yoga in 1924 is to liberate at least 100,000 lives. Think about this. Why not less than 100,000 lives? Just think about this. Even on a logical basis, think about why at least 100,000 lives. That means he knew, on the basis of the power what was given by Nityanadi Sadguru, he knew that there are 100,000 lives at least looking to him, where they are, what they are going to do, and I have to liberate them. These are the eligible ones. He knew everything. Otherwise, it would not be possible just by anyone claiming foolishly like this, of that kind of person. Not possible. And I'm not going to tell the exact number, but at this stage, we know, on the basis of what the current master Sadguru Swatantra Ji Maharaj had mentioned at one time, exact number he mentioned, which is above 100,000, of course, but exact number is known. Think about it. How? It can be done only by those, or it can be done only by that entity who has been knowing everything, end and beginning everything. And that actually Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj gave his real proof at the time when he left his body in 1954 at an age of 67, which was pre-decided at a pre-decided time, pre-decided place. After leaving his mortal body, he did the Akashwani. He spoke from the void and mentioned that I am now at that stage or at that zone from where this everything starts and everything ends. That means the infinity. I can see everyone, no one can see me. Did you understand? I can see everyone, no one can see me. है समीप दिखे नहीं, वह देखे सब कोई. जरा मृत्यु नहीं ताहि में कह पंडित वह कोई. अंति संतम न जहत्यंति संतम न पश्यति देवस्य पश्य काव्यम न ममार न जीर्यति. I can see everyone, no one can see me. No one can see me. I'm not going anywhere. This is just an event to leave my mortal body as a pre-decided event. Don't think that I'm not there. I'm there. I'm there as it is. In fact, much more better than what I was. Earlier, I had to honor this Prakriti. If you remember, Swami Ji said there are 6 eternal elements, out of which 4 are conscious and 2 are not considered as conscious. One of them is Prakriti. It is an internal thing. It must be honored. So even at a level of Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, he honored the cycle of the Prakriti. And once he left this body was just one event to be in. Even not in the body, he still exists. There has been so many proofs where people have heard him, his voice, just like as he used to heard Nityanadi Sadgurudev's voice. But many people, many disciples are there who still hear Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj's voice. He appeared in the dreams also. Dreams are something which you cannot have control on your own. Okay, today I will see this dream. Okay, tomorrow I will see this dream. No, it is not. And Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj many a times appears in a person's dream and initiate him, mentions many things, what has to be done, what not has to be done, how exactly has to be done, all these kind of things. Not just with 1 or 2 person, there has been many. And he appears in front of many as well. So when there is someone who is beyond death, when there is someone who had left his body on his own, who has won the death, and that's what one of the objective of Vihangam Yoga also is, to win over the death. What is this body left with for? Nothing. It's just nothing. So Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj came when he said that I came here just out of inquisitiveness through that Mukti Dwar. He that time at his childhood age did not realize, understand, but later on when everything was open to him, then he realized what is the real objective of his life coming to this earth. Why he came. He was very much fine at a state of samadhi based on his all past previous lives, wherever, whenever, whichever way he had. What is the need now? He was called with a specific task. And the same reason goes to other following successor Sadgurus. They have not just came. They were called upon by Swamiji for a specific task to finish on his will, because he said that this particular task of at least liberating 100,000 lives will be completed in 6 generations of mine. But don't just be foolish to think that, 6 generations? What does this mean? Don't worry, don't forget that the power is the same, the eternal master's power, eternal Sadguru power, which will flow through Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, who is monitoring all these generations. And that's how the whole story of Vihungam Yoga establishment right now even going on. Sadguru Swatantra Devji Maharaj, the current master, when you see him, you see, oh, really? How does he look? He look like he doesn't know anything, really. Some people may think, oh, really? He knows so many things. He's the Sadguru. When you see him, his appearance, he's very simple person, simplest person. But don't go on your eyes. Don't go on your intellect only. The Sadguru attracts. Sadguru attracts the purity. Same as the earth, the magnet Earth attracts, right? Attracts through its gravitational force everything towards it. But if you go beyond the gravitational force, then you will not be attracted, even though the gravitational force exists. Similarly, Sadguru is that purest form which attracts everyone towards it. But if you are beyond that power because of your own coating layer by layer over you, you will never feel that attraction. And that's why many people are in illusion, not able to understand what this element Sadguru is. I'm really sorry. There has been so much of time. As I mentioned, it is not that possible to explain and elaborate everything what Sadguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj's life is. Maybe we would require many sessions to go through to have. Even picking up one specific event about him will take more than one day to explain all the things, because you can see there has been so many things involved with each other. It's the whole spirituality. Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj himself is this spirituality. I don't know how to just prove it. I don't have to prove, but how to just explain this word. Sadhguru Sadafal Devji himself is the spirituality. It's impossible to understand and explain only at a level of soul. Otherwise, these words would be so limited to explain things about him. So really sorry for exceeding the time. I think now we are more than 1 hour and 15 minutes. We had time only for 1 hour. Kushbuji had told me that, okay, 40 minutes we can have explanation and having some discussion about Swamiji's life, and then a few more minutes probably we can have some question and answer. But you know, once things starts, it is really hard to stop at one specific point. Once you have to say many more things about Swamiji. But here still, I would like to get excused by all of you that I have exceeded the time, and I'm really sorry for that. And here now, actually, I would like to stop. If anyone has any question, and if the time still allows and permits, please let's have that question answer session. But ultimately, what I would say is, Sadhguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj's life is, if you see it as a person, you will see, oh, okay, it's a saint's life. But now probably you would see why it is so difficult to write anything about him, as his life passing through just in textbook is not that easy. So, but Sadhguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj, I don't have that experience the way a person has to experience the Sadguru on its own. But to whatever extent I have been able to understood by the grace of Swamiji himself, is that I know that if at this life, if the real objective what a life has, if the life is not able to achieve, it's a bad fate of that person, or probably he did not put the effort, because this is the time when you are available. The time is available. The Sadguru is available to liberate you. Even if right now we are not able to understand the reality of ourselves, I don't know when exactly it will happen with any one of us. This, I would like to stop my voice here in terms of speaking about the life of Sadhguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj. Thank you very much for being patient with me, listening to whatever extent I was able to. Thank you. Back to you, Khushbuji.
So much, Subhashi. And I know it's discussing about Sri Swamiji. It's no easy job, but the way how beautifully you compiled every little moment from his life, and made us understand who he actually is, was amazing. Only you would have done that, Subhashi. But I think there's a question I can see. If you can access the chat box, Subhashi, you can see there's a question.
I could see about Sadhguru Kabir Sahib. It is mentioned that the question says by Avnesh Ji that if Kabir Sahib is the incarnation of eternal Sadguru, then why he was in the search of Guru when he was a child, as we all have heard. So the stories what we hear may not have reality, but still I would accept what you have mentioned, that Sadhguru Kabir Sahib, when he was in childhood state, he was in search of the master, the guru. But if you go beyond in that story, wherever you or we have heard about, um, do you know the end of that story? When he was in search of a guru, he had a specific purpose. It was not like that he wanted to learn something from the guru. Actually, he wanted to reach out to one specific person during his that journey of the search, to let that person know and understand who he is actually. So my suggestion is, please go back to that story from wherever we all have heard, and try to finish that story. It may be possible that that story was not complete wherever you have heard it, but what I know is Sadhguru Kabir Sahib was in search of one specific person, on a will of that person who wanted to meet, if at all such kind of person exists. But Sadhguru Kabir Sahib had to honor the person, that guru, who was actually a guru in the form, his position. He had to respect that, and that's why. And since he was such an small boy at that time point, so he had his own ways to reach out to different people. Even if you have heard the stories, at a very young age, Sadhguru Kabir Sahib met, what is his name? I forgot. Who sat on the Trishul and then challenged Sadhguru Kabir, what can you do now? What was his name? I forgot. And then what Sadhguru Kabir Sahib did, he jumped in the air and sat in the air. So there are different kind of stories there. At the time when Sadhguru Kabir Sahib was there, if you remember, it was around, I think, he appeared in what people say is, I think, 1398 or something like that, when he was first seen by his then parents, who found him in the lotus. And he lived means kept his eternal body for 120 years. Even I'm an actuarial person. Of course, we know that there has been some people known whose life had been more than 100 years for many. But even if I go on actuarial professional basis, right now, even whole worldwide, the maximum life registered as a life officially, in terms of insurance calculation and all those, in 126 years so far. But yes, Sadhguru Kabir Sahib was there for 120 years. In fact, when Guru Nanak Dev Ji met him for the first time at an age of 16, at that time point, Kabir Sahib was in his mortal form already with 96 years. That time, first time, Guru Nanak Dev Ji met him. And I don't know if any one of you knew, I'm sure some of you might be, the Guru Granth Sahib, which you definitely know about. I don't know if you have heard about, I mean, if you are able to read it or not. If some of you are from that side, you might be knowing. There has been many Vanis, Guru Vani, they call it Guru Vani in Guru Granth Sahib. There has been more than 200 Vanis are there, which was actually taken straight away from what Sadhguru Kabir Sahib had mentioned during his time. So what Avnishji, what you have heard, or all of us have heard about, that Sadhguru Kabir Sahib was searching for a guru. There is no harm in even finding someone as and considering as a guru, right? There has been many secrets behind many things. Even when you say Krishna Ji, right, which every one of us consider as the Almighty, right? Many are there. Lord Ram, we were talking about him also. They all have guru, right? Whereas we all consider them as the Almighty, the part of Almighty. Why they would have the guru? There had been many secrets. There had been many reasons behind that. So yeah, these kind of questions come to our mind at all many different time points. But my suggestion is to come out from all these things actually, and focus on the specific objective. Knowledge has to be in the right direction to understand things. What I am doing, what I have to do, what I am gaining, what my experience is, where I have reached. Compare yourself. Let me compare myself with myself. Where I was 2 years back, where I was 5 years back, where I was 10 years back. Is there any change in experience, spiritual experience, what I have? Let me compare on that basis. What happens if what is happening with someone else? Doesn't matter. It just, if at all we have to compare with someone, probably just to motivate ourselves as a path, as a milestone. Oh, that person might have these milestones where I am. That way. So I think the way we have to gain the knowledge, we have to probably rectify to certain extent the way we have been learning things. And believe me, Google doesn't tell everything, book doesn't tell everything. The experience of the soul is the real thing. Without that, rest all the things are incomplete. So I don't know whether I completed your question's answer completely or not, but that's what I would say at this stage. Oh, there are so many things. Sir, which mantra should we chant to attain purity of mind? Well,
Subhash, I think Mr. Jeet A. Paricha has joined the session for the first time, I guess. So maybe he's new to Vihangam Yoga.
yeah. Okay, Ashish ji, thanks for letting me know that life expectancy, of course, life expectancy go 150. It can go beyond that also as our medical advancements is increasing, and very soon there would be many people who would have higher life, even more than 150. Also, that's not a surprise. I can very well understand. Thanks for just commenting on that. Okay, so Jeet is mentioning that, sir. Okay, which mantra should we chant to attain purity of mind? I think my question is, who is chanting? When you say which mantra should we chant to purify the mind, who is going to chant? So what I'm saying is, we have to understand few things in a much more even logical way, right? When I say this is my hand, right, then there are two things I'm talking about. One is my hand and one is me. So my hand is definitely different from me. That's why I'm saying this hand belongs to me, right? So who is me? First thing we have to understand, right? So when you say, probably you may not be able to answer this right now, but when you say that which mantra should we chant to purify our mind, who is chanting? So you said, I am chanting. Then who are you? Which entity of you is chanting? Is it you? You as you, which exists in this body, is chanting? No, it's not. Your mouth is chanting, right? The voice comes from the mouth. You have read it, you have memorized it, whatever mantra or whatever things we talk about, and then you are just reading it out, and that vibration is coming out. That's it. Who is experiencing that mantra? That is the most important thing. So, in my opinion, when the eyes are looking at something, when the voice we are speaking from our mouth, right, and our memory is functioning, our intellect is functioning to memorize things also, but ultimately, who is chanting? In my opinion, it's the mind itself based on which we are chanting. And if the mind itself is chanting, then do you think it will be purified just by those mantras? I think, in my opinion, there is no harm, there is nothing, there is no problem in chanting. Definitely, we should continue because those things are the basis of our existence, I think, at least. Right? Without mantras, probably many of us would not exist in our day-to-day life. So we must continue. Probably, what I suggest here is, if you really want to purify something, right? If suppose let's take a cloth, right? My shirt. I want to clean my shirt. I want to purify my shirt. Can I purify my shirt by shirt itself? I cannot. I need to have something else which would rub the shirt, or at least where I would pour my shirt, say for example in the water where the detergent is there or the soap is there, right? So there has to have another entity. So when you say chanting, so chanting is one activity, right? Who is chanting? Where is that another entity? That need to be understood, and that is intellect, right? So through mind, when we have to purify mind, we have to first have a control and come out from the mind, then only we can purify mind. Being a mind itself, we cannot purify mind, isn't it? I think you might have heard about Einstein also, where he said that if you are in a problem, you have a plane of problem where you exist along with it. Unless and until you take yourself out from that plane and see it through from other plane, you will not be able to find the right solution for that particular problem. You have to change your basis to see that problem appropriately. Because unless and until Till the time you are a part of that problem, you cannot find the solution because you cannot see the entirety. So for that reason, you have to change your basis. You have to change your plane so that you can see the problem completely and then can provide the solution for that. Similarly, when we are going to purify the mind, we need to have a different basis to purify that mind. Being a mind itself, we cannot purify it. That's the simple logical answer I believe to have. So if at all we want to purify our mind, definitely there could have been many different mantras, there could have been many different wordings available, whichever way we do it. But what I suggest is, if really we want to purify our mind, first let us know how to control the mind. And that's what Vihangam Yoga meditation is also there. One of the objectives for meditation is to first control the mind and then to purify it. Without controlling it, purification is not possible because it's so flickering around all the times here and there. Purification is not possible. To purify something, first we need to hold it. To hold it means first we need to catch it. To catch it means first we need to have the control over it. Then only we are able to purify it. So my suggestion would be probably first learn how to control the mind, and once you have the control on the mind, then move towards purifying it. And there has been very simple, easy way. Even the kind you are asking which mantra, probably at that stage, any mantra you do, the mind will get purified. But before that, you need to have control on the mind first, I think. Any more question do you have?
I don't think there's any further question, but Manishi had shared a question with me. Manishi, would you like to ask that?
Subhash Chandra Ji.
Hey.
The question was, I think you've answered it already, about why does that Guru keep his mortal body like the other yogis, have kept for over like 100 years, 150 years, and then
Yeah,
so
Manishji, just couple of more things into that. I didn't mention one thing when I was mentioning about when Swamiji was leaving his mortal body. Immediately after he left his body, he started speaking from the void, and he spoke for 15 minutes actually. So one of the small portion which he mentioned during his Akashvani, he narrated actually 4 lines of Ramcharitmanas. I hope you are aware about Ramcharitmanas, which was written by Goswami Tulsidas ji. And it is, I mean, there is one thing which is Ramayana, which was written by Rishi Valmiki in Sanskrit. And then there was a time, 1300, 1400, 1500 time, century, when Goswami Tulsidas ji written Ramcharitmanas portraying Lord Ram in a very different Maryada Purushottam Ram kind of thing. In that, he had mentioned 4 chaupais, which Swamiji, Sadhguru Rafal Devji Maharaj, narrated after leaving his body. And those 4 lines are something like this. Bin pag chala hi sunahi binu kana, कर बिनु कर्म करहि विधि नाना, आनन रहित सकल रस भोगी, बिन वाणी वक्ता वड जोगी. This is written by Goswami Tulsidas ji, okay? And Swamiji narrated this just as a proof, mentioning that this is written by Goswami Tulsidas ji. But right now, I am proving it, where he mentioned that bin pag chalahi sunahi binu kana means the yogi walks without any hand or leg and hears without any ear. Kar binu karma karahi vidhi nana. To do anything, that yogi doesn't need to have any hands or something like or body like this. Bin vani vakta vad jogi means that yogi, the great yogi, to speak doesn't need this voice, the voice through which we are speaking. He mentioned all these things in his Akashvani after leaving his body. So just think about this. When we have the body, what is the use of the body, right? When I am in the body, you are in the body. We are afraid of death, and that's why we are so much attached to our body. Everything we think, oh, this is me. When the prana shakti goes at a different level, and mrityu, the death, comes near to us, our heartbeat happens something else, blood pressure happens something else. We are in complete fear, and completely in pitiable state we are in, and we are so much in pain, grief when we are living this body. That's why we think that being in body or not being in body is such a huge difference. But for a yogi of that kind, who would have done and practiced coming out from this body so many times, actually Sadhguru Sudafal Devji Maharaj had done that, coming out and going inside the body so many times. It's just toys play, isn't it? Coming in, going out. So what is the use of being in the body? It's just a small jackal again to be in the body. You have to honor. You have to honor the body itself. Why then to keep it? Let it go. That's what Sadhguru Sudafal Devji Maharaj, and it was pre-decided also. There is a reason behind that also, why Sadhguru Sudafal Devji Maharaj had to leave the body. Why? He knew this long back. In fact, in 1938 itself, in 1938, right? Yeah, 1938 itself, he declared who is going to be my next successor. In 1938, which was around 15 years back, 15 years before, he had to leave his body. And he decided, and he told that your turn will come after 15 years. And he said that your turn will go after that 15 years. So you see what he mentioned? He mentioned in 1938 to the successor, upcoming successor, that after 15 years, your turn will come and you will remain there for next 15 years. Thereafter, somebody else's turn comes. And actually, Sadhguru Dhamchand Devji Maharaj had to leave his body in 1969, which was exactly 15 years from 1954. And current Master Sadhguru Swatantra Devji Maharaj had to take over everything at an age of 22 itself. And right now he has been carrying everything right now since that time itself. And in 2019, on 14th of February, for us, it is very easy to remember Valentine Day, right? 14th of February, current Master Sadhguru Swatantra Devji Maharaj declared about the next successor. But when exactly all those kind of things, right now it cannot be told. So just we know that, okay, fine, next successor who is going to be, and it is declared. Just like as previously also, next successors have been declared on that basis. So for a yogi, being in the body, not being in the body, is just Swamiji has mentioned, ye to bas ek krida hai. Krida means it's just a game, play kind of thing. It's and in fact there is another incident where Sadhguru Dhamchand Devji Maharaj, the first successor himself, had mentioned at one place that at a time when he was meditating and doing something, and suddenly he felt that he's out of the body, and he was not able to come inside. Then he had to remember Sadhguru Sudafal Devji Maharaj in whichever form he did. And then wherever Sadhguru Sudafal Devji Maharaj, that time Sadhguru Sudafal Devji Maharaj in that mortal body, wherever Sadhguru Sudafal Devji Maharaj, he came to know that some problem is happening to Sadhguru Dhamchand Devji Maharaj, and then he did something at his own end, and forcefully he pushed Sadhguru Dhamchand Devji Maharaj inside to come to the normal form. So there has been many incidences come through. So we see being in the body, not being in the body in a different way. But for a yogi who is seeing things, everything from at a different level, and being in the body and not being in the body is just a small event, and doesn't make too much of sense. So, but they have to do few events to honor few things. Till the time Sadhguru Sudafal Devji Maharaj, he mentioned that till the time I will be in this mortal body form, you means as to Sadhguru Dhamchand Devji Maharaj, who was the first successor. He mentioned to him that till the time I am available in this mortal body, that power, that eternal master's power, which is passing through right now to me would not come to you exactly the way it has to come, because the body has to do few things at its own end. So there is a different science all behind this. So to you to be complete perfect, I have to leave the body. Once I leave the body, you will automatically become the perfect. So now probably you could have understood why all these things would have happened, why Sadhguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj had to leave, because Sadhguru Dhamchandra Ji Maharaj had to carry over because of another reasons, and so forth, and similarly other things also. So all the things are linked with each other. So Vihangam Yoga philosophy and the whole science behind it has been so incredible. Probably it is very hard to discuss and understand everything at the same time. Yep. Hope I was a little bit more clearer, Nishi.
Ji, Subhash, I think Manishi has written thank you so much in the chat box. So his answer too have been clear. And I assume there's no further question. And it's we have already
Hello, ma'am.
taken 1 hour. Yeah.
Ma'am, I had just one last question, ma'am. I don't know if I should be asking this question from the level of mind, but I feel curious. Actually, ma'am, you only had told once that before Sadafil Dev Ji Maharaj mother was leaving the body, she gave him number of advices and probably also told him something like about the future of spirituality and in what way he needed to do the prachar. So this all had happened after Sadafal Devji Maharaj had already the guidance of eternal Sadguru and had realized, and he had realized that who he was and why he was there on the earth. So a person who has already attained that level of enlightenment, what is the need to explain to that person about how he has to act in order to do prachar, and what was the need to give so many advices to someone who is completely enlightened? So
Okay.
this was my question.
Ji, I got the point, Avnishi. In fact, Subhashi, a few days ago, we were reading the book, Mere Purvaj Pitar.
Sahajopanishad. And Sahajop, actually, okay.
Yeah.
Sadhguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj has described this in a much more detailed way, and it is mentioned in one of the specific book named as Sahajopanishad. Sahaj Upanishad, where Sadhguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj has mentioned the discussion with Maharani Mukti Devi Ji. Maharani Mukti Devi Ji means his mother, about her journey exactly just before leaving the body, right? And I think you are mentioning about that even probably where Khushbuji would have explained at one particular time about that particular event. So coming to the question which you have asked is, why if somebody is so much enlightened at a level of Sadguru, why he should ask someone what should be the next step, how should we do the prachar and all those kind of things, right? So let me tell you a few more things about that event and a few more things about Maharani Mukti Devi Ji, probably by which you will get more clarity. So don't take Maharani Mukti Devi Ji so lightly, right? Why? Just think about if you would have remembered how the way Khushbuji probably would have explained it to you, how Maharani Mukti Devi Ji was leaving her body. The end statement, the end word by her was Sadguru, 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 right? So that means she was, even at that time when she is leaving her body, she is fully conscious. She is giving upadesh to so many people around, and she know that, okay, Sadguru is now here in front of me and I have to go along with me. So think about that soul, how great that soul is, where Sadguru himself had come to give the darshan and take away from the body. Of course, different yogis or yoginis have different events at the time of leaving the body. Like Sadhguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj, when he left his body, he had, of course, the internal way to leave the body is the same, but outside what is happening can be converted in a lot many different events. Like Sadhguru Sadafal Dev Ji Maharaj, after leaving his body, spoke from the void, but Maharani Mukti Devi Ji did not. Okay, so internal process remains the same, but outside what is happening can be different for different people. Okay, so Maharani Mukti Devi Ji, when she left her body, when she was leaving her body, the very first thing you should understand that it was not just Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj who was present at that time point. There were many other disciples also available. And the questions which were asked was not just by Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj. There were other disciples also who had asked few questions. Okay, so for Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, it was a very nice event for Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, I am saying, and for other disciples also, to have a live example to see when somebody is leaving the body, then what are the different things can happen, and what is the reality at that time point. Even probably Khushbuji might have told you that Swamiji had asked Maharani Mukti Devi ji, okay, what you see now, right? I don't know whether she could say, but Swamiji had asked his mother, that, okay, right now, what do you see when you are at the last phase? What do you see? What is your experience, right? Same question may apply. When Swamiji knew everything, then what is the point to ask? So point is here. There were other disciples who had been hearing everything all the times from Swamiji only. Many times, right? And being at that level, whatever he would say, obviously everyone is accepting, everyone is knowing what he has been doing, what he's achieving, everything, and all those kind of things. But you understand this, that when the person is dying, in our terminology, experience of that time heard by someone else, if it is matching with someone who has already mentioned all those things at the time when he's not dying, isn't it not such an incredible experience for those who are hearing and listening all those kind of things? And even right now, it has become an example for all of the ladies, all of the people, right, to know as an example, oh, Maharani Mukti Devi ji, even before Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, had left the body in this and this way. So according to me, this is my perception, according to me, Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, when he was asking all these things, he was not asking it for him. He was asking all these questions to let others hear what she is saying. Because all these questions, probably, I think, Swamiji would have discussed, talked, and other things would have been done with her already, or he did not need to know all these kind of things, because he was already, as we all are mentioning, that he was already connected to the one. But he wanted to let others know and hear by someone else who is also connected at that time point, at the time when she is leaving the body, with the master, and what things comes, that comes exactly as the truth, what exactly it has to be done. So in my opinion, it was not for Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, who had any kind of inquisitiveness to know, okay, what is happening with you. Do you think that Swamiji was not able to see the Sadhguru present at the time when Maharani Mukti Devi ji was leaving her body? It is impossible to accept that Swamiji was unaware that the eternal master is also present at that time point. It was not mentioned, fine, but that's why I'm saying the reality probably is to let other disciples also to know and hear things from someone else who is leaving the body, to have the experience at that time point.
Thank you so much, Subhashi, for this. And it's already too late. I know it's extremely late for you, Subhashi, and I think we should now end the session here. And maybe if you can take out time again sometime, or we look forward to have more sessions, and we can have further detailed interaction with you. If there's any question left, maybe I can request people, if you have any further question left, you can drop it in the group. I can forward it to Subhashi, and maybe we can coordinate and see how those questions can be answered. So at this time, let us now end the session with the Sankshipt Shanti Path. Hey Prabhu Shanti Swaroop ho, Shanti Shanti Maya Shanti, Shanti Shanti Jan Shanti ho, Purna Shanti Maya Shanti. हे प्रभु शांति प्रदान कर, दूर हो सर्व अशांति, देव सदा फल शांतिमय, शांति शांति सुख शांति। बोलिए नित्यानंद सतगुरुदेव भगवान की जय। So thank you so much, Subhashi, for taking out time, and I really apologize for this delay. I know it's too late for you. You need to get back, and thank you everyone for joining and staying till so late. It's already 1 hour and 45 minutes. So thank you everyone, and again a special thank you to Subhashi for again taking out time on such a short notice. So I look forward to see you again tomorrow at the same time, 6 a.m. in the morning India timing and evening at the same time. And people who are new can learn the technique that's happening every Sunday at 11:30 India timing. You can get in touch with me on WhatsApp and we can discuss that. So on this note, we'll end the session here, and may Swamiji bless us all. Jai Sadgurudev.
Yes, Gurudev.